Hallelujah. First, I would like to thank the Father for being here and having a job. And it started back this week, and I found it to be interesting. Some new kids. One of my short routes became a lot longer by probably a half an hour. That was a little upsetting to me. But I'm thankful I have a job. I'm meeting some nice new kids. They seem very respectful. And I'm thankful for that. And yesterday I had a run, which I had my old school, Southbrook, and these kids miss me so much. I kind of feel bad for them because they want me to, be their driver. And the other kids that I have my old run back, and they miss me so much. So it's like I can't do everybody's job. It seems like all the kids seem to like me for some reason. I'm so nice to them, I don't treat them mean. But I thank the Father for my job. So, this is a topic I found very interesting, my message here. It's about friends. So, here's a question. What are some of your definitions of what a friend is? Or what is your definition of what it is to be a friend? So let's hear a definition of a friend. Would someone tell me what a friend is? Go ahead, niece.
Somebody you can depend on.
Someone you could depend upon. How about you, Jamie? How about you, Maya? What you think? What you think a friend is? What do you think it is to be a friend? Be kind to other people? Does it even include sometimes you got to be mean to some people sometimes? It's not kind all the time. Sometimes you got to show that tough love. But if you would notice that everyone's definition would be slightly different because everyone has their views of what a friend is. So I guess the question should be, what can I put up with? What am I willing to tolerate?
Yes.
Well, simple enough that there are only two main kinds of friends. One kind of friend is a worldly friend. The other kind of friend is a friend of Yahshua. Two main categories of friends. Everything else branches from there. Another question, are you a friend of Yah? Because if we start to name off our friends, is Yahweh one of them? Let's see, this is my friend here, this is my friend here. Oh yeah, I forgot about Yahweh. Do we do this? Does it even matter if you're a friend of Yahweh? Is that important to him? We'll find out. And I also noticed that we have different levels of friends. Some people call best friends. I don't know what this level meter thing is. I just know that some people have, I guess, closer relationships with other people to make it a best friend. Maybe you hang out with them more or less. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I think a friend is a friend regardless. I don't believe in best friends. They're all great friends, especially if they're a friend of Yahweh. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. What kind of friends do I have? And what kind of friend am I? Or am I a friendly person as I go through this message? First, let's look at a short story and judge to see if these characters are friends. And because I sat in my mom's class, I learned of this story, I forgot about it. It was brought back to my memory. So I'm thankful for being in that class to have this brought back to my memory. Luke chapter 5, verse 18. A very interesting story. Instead of creating my own stories, I'm going to use some stories from the Bibles to tell about friendships, if that's what you could call this. Luke chapter 5, verse 18. And behold, men brought in a bed a man which was taken with palsy, and they sought means to bring him in and to lay him before him. And when they could not find by what way they might bring him, and because of the multitude, they went up upon the housetop and let him down through the tilling with his couch into the midst before Yahshua. And when Yahshua saw their faith, he said unto them, Man, thy sins are forgiven thee. But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power upon earth to forgive sins. He said unto the sick of the palsy, I say unto unto thee, arise and take up thy couch and go into thine house. And immediately he rose up before them, and he took up that whereon he lay, and he departed to his own house, glorifying Elohim. First thing I found interesting about this is, what's the point of putting in the fact that they say when he left, he was glorifying Elohim? Why do they feel the need to put that in there? It has to have some kind of importance. So what kind of friends, or can you call these two friends that carried the man on the bed? Would you call them friends?
Yes.
So what kind of things did they do? On what level of friendship would you put them at? Would they be best friends?
Yeah.
All the stuff they went through, would you think they'd be best friends? Or we want to get this man out of here. He's been bothering us for so long. We need to get him healed so he can leave us alone? Or was they thinking like that? Well, whatever the matter was, it was a serious matter at hand. It was a serious matter. And they believed to get this man healed, they had to take him to Yahshua by whatever means necessary.
Yes.
Whatever means necessary. And it was kind of dangerous to do what they did. They went up on a rooftop carrying a man on a couch or a bed or a mat. So let's consider this verse 19. And when they could not find by what way they might bring him in, because of the multitude, they went up on the housetop and let him down through the tilling with his couch into the midst before Yahshua. So I'm going to try to give you an illustration of what this will look like. Mark, can you help me out for a minute? Just use our imaginations, and I'm going to give you a little starter for you to use your imagination. Can you get that one of the blue and red couch things or mats? What we're going to do is pretend that there's going to be somebody on here. Grab this side. Now, this is just for a kid. Now, imagine a grown man's mat looking like. And what it would look like for two men to be carrying someone on a mat like this. And imagine going through somebody's house. What kind of trouble will it be like? You got to go up the steps, it'll be lowering, you got to raise it up. You got to try to keep them even. You got to make a turn. How would you make a turn? To get around to the rooftop. How would you do it? Could you imagine that? Just think about that for a minute. All the things the friends had to go to just to get up to the roof. How did they get them down? To put him into Yahshua's midst. They had to put him down somehow, and it's pretty high. So I'm sure they would use some kind of rope or something. But they went through a lot just to do this. It's a very difficult means. I mean, you can see how small that was. Just imagine a bigger size one. Just think about that. All the things they went through just to get their friend, to get a healing.
Yes. Yes.
I can see what Yahshua did for us, all in this. All the kind of things that Yahshua does for us, such as this. Yahshua, like the two men, stays with us all the way through.
Yes.
All the way through to the destination. The man with palsy is like us, needing to be carried because we cannot do it on our own.
No,
We can't. It's impossible. And this story, the roadblock was a crowd. They couldn't get to Yahshua because there's a crowd. But it seems like crowds are the main source in the Bible, because the crowds is always wanting to kill somebody or stopping somebody from doing something. It seems to be the crowd. And in many cases, our roadblock to getting closer to Yahshua is the crowd. So, thankfully, the man with palsy, sick, or us that are sickly with sin, have friends or a friend that will stick with us through the end. Such as in Proverbs 18:24 says, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Who would stick closer than a brother that is also friendly? Yahshua. That's what he does with us. He sticks close with us to help us get to our destinations. He doesn't stop in the middle. They didn't go into the house. It's like, whose house is this? I don't think they cared. Let's go in that one. They walked up in there, looked around, taking the steps, looked around, dropped them down. This is a done deal. They didn't stop in between. They stuck through all the way. They didn't stop at all. I'm sure the man with palsy is probably looking like, you guys, you don't have to do this. This is too much. You're going into some stranger's house. What if? Our friends ain't going to hear none of that. They went all the way for it. No excuses. So with Yahshua being a friend that sticks closer than a brother,
Yes.
I don't think there's too much else better than that. Because it's nice to see that Yahshua loves us and knows us, but he also considers us a friend.
Friend. That's right. Wow.
So how do you respond when Yahshua answers some of your prayers? Such as the man that had palsy, he glorified Elohim. His prayers was answered. Even if it wasn't one of his goals, like maybe he wasn't thinking, maybe I can't get healed, maybe it's not possible. They was, and now he knows for sure it was possible. Sometimes we start off wondering. It's not. But later in life, we tend to find out Yahweh can do and he will do. So thankfully, we have a friend in Yahshua.
Thank you, Father.
So when you pray and your prayers become answered, you shouldn't be like expecting them to be answered. This is what I expect. Shouldn't be like that. You should be giving glory unto Elohim.
Yes.
There goes another story. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a whole book. Job 2:11. Chapter 2, verse 11. Book of Job. This is a very interesting case of some friends, if that's what you would call them. But they were. Or I'm going to let you decide that after we look through a couple of things. Now, when Job's three friends heard, Job chapter 2, verse 11. Now, when Job's three friends heard all of this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. And there goes the names and who they're from. For they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. These people came from their own place to go mourn with Job. They traveled some distance to go just to comfort Job. That sounds very friendly to me. Would you consider that being friendly?
Yeah.
Traveling a distance from your home? You know, for those who might know not much about Job, he was kind of wealthy at one point. At this point, he's no longer. So I'm sure he had some friends that were also in some high places. Because that's what, you know, when you're big, that's kind of how birds of a feather flock together. So I'm sure he had friends like that also had some stuff, but not because that's what they had. So they could have been real busy people. But they left what they were doing to comfort Job. Now, having friends can help us get through some tough times or some good times. You don't have to friends can't just be there for all the bad times. That's what hanging out's for. How far are you willing to go for your friends? How far are your friends willing to go for you? This is how we could categorize our friends into worldly friends and a friend of Yahshua. How far are they willing to go? I don't know. I think my friends are pretty willing to go pretty far. What you think, 26 miles at least tomorrow at 1 o'clock as a warm-up? Get the blood flowing. So, but let's take the story to nowadays terms. We got some three friends. We'll give them some names. Mark, Jordan, and Vernon. We give them three names. These three people, nowadays, we all have cell phones, right? So, in this story, assuming that it's today, what's the likelihood that they would use the cell phones instead of going to Job? What's the likelihood? Let's just think about that. Reality of the situation. It's 2010. Technology has been introduced to us, and we have no longer a need to meet face-to-face with people. We can use a cell phone. We can instant message. I don't know what that is. With Skype, Twitter, I don't know what that is, but you can do all that stuff and no longer have a need to see face-to-face. That's what technology does for us. So how far are you willing to go when someone needs some help? Just a phone call? Is that enough? Even if it's with a camera, it's not the same thing as face-to-face because you can't really get a good vibe off of the person. There's nothing like meeting in person. Nothing like it.
That's right.
But just imagine if that would have happened then. How short would this story have been if they'd used their cell phones because the batteries died? Or their text because they went over their, how many text messages they were able to use, because you don't allow so many text messages when you have that kind of plan. Or say they're unlimited text messages. How many days would it have taken to get all those texts out? A very long time. That's just the reality of things if it was taken now, but it's not, thankfully. But consider, since it is now and we have these options, see the person face to face, even if they need just to hang out. Because we got all online games. I don't like those too much. I prefer playing games with friends in person. It's much funner that way, because then you can talk and argue all the same. And just have fun all together. So, knowing this, again, the question would be, would you go? How far would you go for your friends? And how far would your friends go for you? Or would you just try to stick with the multitasking, knowing that you got other things to do, so you could do two things at the same time? I'm going to help this person, and at the same time, I'm going to take my laptop with me and do my work as I'm with them face to face and help them out. They give these people full attention. So since they didn't have the technology, thankfully the story took out and played out the way it happened. Even though the way they talked to Job wasn't necessarily friendly, because they figured he must have been a bad person, somewhere down the line, something happened for all this stuff to happen to him. But they were trying. That's what friends do. They do try. So from this, you can also learn that you got to trust in Yahweh and use his advice and not your own. Use his counsel. Because they were pretty much for sure that Job did something wrong for this to happen. And at the end of a couple of chapters, you go to Job 42:10. It says, "And Yahweh turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also, Yahweh gave Job twice as much as he had before." Now, the kind of counsel Job was getting from his friends would have probably made a lot of us angry. Because it gets to the point, the whole chapter is about, you did something wrong. 3 people all saying this. You did something wrong. Yeah, he needs to repent. He did something wrong. A whole bunch of chapters about that. Just think about that. How long are you willing to put up with someone saying that you did something wrong, and that's the reason why this is happening? Mark, your watch broke because you got sin in your life. You ain't got no car yet because you got sin in your life. Just imagine this imagine 3 days, I'm telling you this. You ain't going to put up with it that long. But guess what? If Job was mad or not mad, regardless, he still prayed for his friends.
Yes.
I'm sure he was thankful to have them, for them to come comfort him. He still prayed for them. So I'm asking you to also. Don't forget to pray for your friends. Family's also important. But friends also help out a lot, especially if they're a friend of Yahweh. They're at least worth that, right? Our prayers. Well, let's continue. Move on some more. John chapter 15, verses 11 through 17. John chapter 15, verses 11 through 17. This is one of my favorite sections in the Bible, my most favorite. And it reads like this, starting at John 15, verse 11. "These things I have spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you." So I'm going to stop right there. And this is right here with the friendly love that he has, the love that he shows. He shows himself as a friendly person. That comes from love. Because if you have the kind of love that the world has, you won't show yourself as a friendly person because you want to get the people back. Oh, he didn't return that to me. He didn't make his promise. Even being a friendly person, you could take those things and you could turn the other way and just take it. Because Yahshua is that kind of person that he give his life, such as this. Verse 13, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
That's right.
Who did that for us?
Thank
Yahshua
you,
did that for us.
Yahshua.
And he considers us his friends, the kind of people we are, the things we've done to him. Considers us friends.
He
Think
calls
about
us
that.
friends. Amen. Praise
Ye are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. This is on our part.
Hallelujah.
Yahshua is friendly to us. But for us to be friendly to Yahshua,
Thank you, Father.
we got to keep his commandments. That shows us friendly to Yahshua.
Hallelujah.
Verse 15, henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you,
Yes.
which would be another short way of saying the truth, which means not hidden. Yahshua showed us all the things. He's shown us all. Ask and ye shall find, right? Seek and ye shall find. Knock, the door shall be open. You shall find it. There's nothing hid at all. And he calls us friends.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Verse 16, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he might give it to you. We've been chosen friends.
Yes.
How do you choose your friends? See, Joshua chose us as friends. Specifically chosen. He picked you out. Here goes Maya. I want Maya as a friend. Cha-ching! You got another friend. Add to the friends list on MySpace or Facebook, whatever he would use, that's what he did. Brother Vernon, friend. You got the friend request in. Are you answering Yahweh's request to be a friend? Some people ignore requests. I don't know why they would do that, but Yahweh accepts all the requests of when we ask him to be our friend.
Yes. Thank you, Father.
And we have to accept his request to be his friend.
Yes.
Verse 17, these things I command you, that you love one another. This is how you would also show yourself friendly. This is how you would deal with people when your enemies are constantly messing with you. You just want to go out there and like strangle them like Homer would do Bart, his son, and just strangle him or something. We have to understand that we have to love one another. Show ourselves friendly. Not necessarily kind, because there are a few times Yahshua didn't show himself kind. Selling some stuff in the temple, ooh. He didn't show himself kind right then and there, did he? He got a little upset. But he was still showing himself friendly because he was looking out for them.
Yes.
See, the verses in 14 and 15 are my favorite, because in keeping his commandments, we are friends to him.
Yes.
He doesn't just know us, he knows us by name.
Yes.
To be friends with the Most High.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Father.
All of the commandments were given to us and designed so that we could have a better way of life. And sometimes we look at them like, this is stupid. Why would we do this? This is pointless. Why do we have to go to church? What's the point of the Sabbath? What's the point of the feasts? Sometimes we look at this like, who wants to fast on the Feast of Atonement? We want to eat. We're hungry people. The best thing to eat is this word. Ain't nothing better than that. Man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Father.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So we have to look at these commandments and understand that they are for us to become better.
Yes.
Like this one, Proverbs chapter 27, verse 6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. The kind of people that Yahweh puts in your life are there for a reason.
Yes.
Regardless of who you are, everyone believes that the truth hurts, and it does. It does sting. But it's better than someone lying to you, like if someone says, does this dress make me look fat? The most dreadful question that wives may ask. Faithful are the wounds of a friend.
Yes.
Sometimes it might hurt. Sometimes not. right?
Right?
Because we might look at some situations and find it easier to lie to ourselves and lie to the other person, like, you're doing a good job. Meanwhile, they're doing everything wrong. Like, let's say if someone was, let's say someone was learning the job, because that's what I like to do. Or someone's like to play the guitar, and they're doing something all wrong, and you just want them to stop, and you're going, yeah, you're doing a good job, keep it up, and you walk somewhere else. You can't leave people hanging.
It's not friendly.
You got to be faithful
Yes. Faithful.
and stand up.
That's right. Dependable.
And all Yahshua wants is good for us.
Yes.
So we have to accept the fact that he put some of these people in our lives.
Yes.
Because if you are in sin, in love, you will be informed. Or should be informed. Because sometimes in love, we don't do this kind of thing and inform people. Because we like to, make people feel bad sometimes. Everyone likes to be better than someone at some point. So thankfully, Yahweh has put these people in our lives.
Thank you for you.
And understand that
Help us.
in hearing the truth, and though it may hurt, as we was talking about earlier, and you wake up in the morning, after you prayed about it all night, you're going to be feeling good and thankful. Thankful they brought this out so I could be closer to Yahweh. Thank you.
Thank you for
Brought me ever so closer.
Thank you.
And you just can't think about it as people are picking on you. You can't think about it like that. I'm being picked on. By Yahweh. He chose you, and he's going to pick on you until you're nice and clean. Because that's the way we're supposed to be, righteous. You have to understand that Yahweh knows best. He knows best. We have to trust that. Because an enemy would also lie, keep you on a path led to destruction. Truth person would keep you on the path leading to righteousness. If at any time a friend says something or does something against Yahweh, you should know that it's a self kind of friend. The friend is only looking out for themselves. But a friend of Yahshua in love will bring you closer.
Yes.
This should be how you choose your friends. In choosing friends, you should make the L of creation one of them, like Abraham did. See, sometimes you might think, I can't be a friend of Yahshua. Consider this. In a few places, such as James 2:23, and the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed Elohim, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness. And he was called the friend of Elohim.
Yes.
Don't you want to be the friend of Elohim, referred to as that? The friend?
Yes.
Just imagine a title like that. Oh, you remember they were the friend of the Most High God, created something out of nothing. Just think about that. You could be a friend of God. Are you a friend of God? Let's go to another story. Matthew 26, verse 48. Sometimes we have friends that aren't always friendly to us, just like in this situation. Matthew 26, verse 48. Now he that betrayeth or betrayed him gave him a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold fast. And forthwith he came to Yahshua and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. This person they're talking about so far, as we know, is who?
Judas Iscariot.
Yep, Judas. Okay. And we continue on in verse 50. And Yahshua said unto him, Friend. He still calls him a friend? He knows what just happened. He knew it way ahead of time. Why do you still just call him a friend? Wherefore art thou come? And they came and laid hands on Yahshua and took him. Why did Yahshua still call him a friend? Was he being sarcastic to Judas? Friend. Was he being sarcastic? No. Even friends can go astray. Yahshua is the only friend who will never leave you or forsake you. Yet knowing this, sometimes we tend to ask, where is he at? We get to a situation in his life, it seems like he's not around. That could be because you walked away. It could be because you're not listening. Open your heart.
Yes.
If you're feeling lonely, stop closing yourself up to the Father and let him in.
Yes.
Because he is a friend that never leaves you. If you feel that you're lonely, you got to understand that it's not him that's leaving you, it's you leaving him.
Yes.
You'll place someone in your life and draw help to you. And you will have that person that's help you draw closer to him. See, with friends, we learned that in Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Same friends in the faith, we build each other up. That's the whole point. Building each other up. Strengthen each other's weaknesses. I'm not fast. Mark's pretty fast. I can't pick up some heavy stuff, but I could go for a decent length of time. He's my strong man. That's why I call him my muscles. I'm not really strong, but I use all the help I could get. So it's kind of like a team effort. Strengthen each other. Yahshua always showed himself friendly, always thinking of how to better the other and trying to put them in the path of righteousness. That's why he treated the Pharisees in the way he did. He wanted them to understand the way you're going about this is all wrong, because they're probably lacking something like the love. Because without that, nothing. So are you showing yourself friendly? What a friend we have in Yahshua. He shows himself friendly. Thankfully, he shows himself friendly. We could depend upon him all the time. See, the whole purpose of this message is to remind you that we are friends of Yahweh.
Yes.
Just think about that. We are friends, not servants. Because we know that he loves us. He didn't hide anything from us. Just knowing that he's seeking a relationship to be friends with us is amazing. Just think about that.
It's amazing.
The Creator, the one who sits high, the beginning and the end, the all-knowing God, wants a friendly relationship with us. Just ponder that. He created something out of nothing. Even that is miraculous. What a friend we have in Yahshua. Created something out of nothing, and he wants to be friends with us. We are friends of Elohim. To praise Yahweh. Ouch! Are you a friend of God? He calls me friend. That's a jam. Are you a friend of
Yahshua is all